For more than 2 decades, Survivor has dominated reality television. What started as a simple social experiment on a remote island has evolved into a fast-paced strategic battlefield filled with twists, advantages, and jaw-dropping blindsides. But as the game has evolved, so has the debate among fans. Some swear the early seasons were unmatched in authenticity. Others argue the middle years delivered the most iconic gameplay. And a growing group insists the modern format is sharper, smarter, and more inclusive than ever before. So the question is simple, and controversial. Which era of Survivor is better? Let's break it down. Palm Tree: the old school era, seasons 1 to 20. When Survivor first premiered in 2000 with Survivor, Borneo, no one knew what to expect. 16 strangers were stranded on an island, forced to build shelter, find food, and vote each other out. There were no complicated twists. No shot in the dark. No beware advantages. Just people, paranoia, and strategy. The birth of strategy. The first true strategic mastermind, Richard Hatch, changed reality TV forever by forming the game's first alliance. That move, simple by today's standards, was revolutionary at the time. The early seasons were driven by relationships. Trust was everything. Betrayal felt personal. And survival, it was real. Contestants were exhausted, starving, and battling the elements without modern game mechanics to save them. The rise of legends. The old school era created some of the most iconic players in reality television history. Boston Rob Mariano, Sandra Diaz-Twine, Parvati Shallow, Rupert Boneham. These weren't just contestants, they became household names among fans. The era reached a dramatic peak with Survivor, Heroes vs. Villains, often considered one of the greatest seasons ever produced. It had rivalry, strategy, redemption, and one of the most debated wins in franchise history. Why fans love old school. Clear alliances, emotional storytelling, raw survival elements, simpler, easier to follow gameplay, character-driven narratives. For many longtime viewers, this was pure Survivor. Trophy: the middle era, seasons 21 to 40. If old school built the foundation, the middle era turned the game into chess. Hidden immunity idols became common. Advantages multiplied. Blindsides became theatrical. This was the era of the big move. Players weren't just trying to survive, they were trying to build resumes. Strategy at its peak. The middle era introduced fans to hyper-strategic gameplay. Few players embodied this better than Tony Vlachis, whose chaotic brilliance redefined aggressive strategy. Meanwhile, players like Sarah Lacina and Jeremy Collins demonstrated that social awareness combined with calculated risk-taking could dominate modern gameplay. This era ultimately culminated in Survivor, Winners at War, where 20 champions returned for an all-star showdown. It was nostalgic, strategic, emotional, and historic. Why fans love the middle era. High-level gameplay, unpredictable blindsides, legendary returning players, strategic innovation, iconic tribal councils. For many viewers, this was Survivor at its most thrilling. But critics argue this era marked the beginning of twist overload. Rocket: the new era, season 41 present. After season 40, everything changed. Starting with Survivor 41, the show entered what producers call the new era. The game shortened from 39 days to 26. Advantages multiplied, twists became central to nearly every episode. And casting embraced greater diversity, bringing fresh voices and stories to the forefront. What defines the new era? High voltage, faster gameplay. There's little downtime. Decisions happen quickly. Strategy moves at lightning speed. Game die advantage, heavy format. Shot in the dark. Beware. Advantages. Knowledge is power. Risk-based mechanics now shape outcomes. Person handshake, person emotional transparency. Players openly discuss identity, mental health, culture, and vulnerability in ways rarely seen in early seasons. Anti-clockwise arrows, no returnee seasons so far. Every cast is brand new, keeping gameplay unpredictable. Why fans love the new era. Constant unpredictability, strong personal storytelling, modern, diverse casting, fast pacing. However, some longtime fans feel overwhelmed by the volume of twists. Others miss the slower camp life scenes that once defined the show's survival roots. Fire: the core debate. So what truly makes a great era of Survivor? Is it the raw authenticity of early seasons, the strategic masterpieces of the middle years, or the emotional, twist-filled chaos of the modern game? Every era reflects the time in which it aired. The early 2000s valued social experiment television. The 2010s celebrated big, flashy gameplay. The 2020s embrace speed, diversity, and constant evolution. Even host Jeff Probst has said the show must keep adapting to survive. Ironically, evolution may be the most Survivor thing of all. Ballot box with ballot vote in our poll. Now it's your turn. Which era of Survivor is better? Palm Tree Old School, Seasons 1 to 20. Trophy Middle Era, Seasons 21 to 40. Rocket New Era, 41 present. There is no wrong answer, only passionate opinions. Clapperboard final thoughts. Few shows have maintained cultural relevance like Survivor. From the alliance revolution sparked by Richard Hatch to the strategic chaos of Tony Vlachis, each chapter of the series has delivered unforgettable moments. Old School gave us authenticity. The Middle Era perfected strategy. The New Era is redefining speed and storytelling. The beauty of Survivor is that it never stays the same. And maybe that's why the debate will never end. So, which era gets your vote? Desert Island.